You are watching the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, your escape to reality.
Hey everyone, welcome to Friday. How you doing?
Hey, Friday's here.
Hello,
Happy
Friday, kids.
Yes,
hello.
hi.
It's Friday.
It's never quite the start of the weekend for me because I have to do the show on Saturday morning. When I'm done with the show, then the weekend officially starts for me.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
This is the start of a long weekend, which makes it even
true.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although Jay and I are going to be working in the studio on Monday, getting ready for the 12-hour show next.
Yeah.
Yeah, the SGU
In a
does not
week.
take little holidays.
Yeah.
So we won't be doing this Friday stream next Friday because the day after that is the 12-hour stream.
Right. Thank you, Steve.
Yes.
You're all going to be hard at work, with your last-minute prep.
Oh, absolutely.
With 12 hours of content. We actually have already more than 12 hours of content ready to go.
We have so much content.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, at least 12 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah, at least. So the interesting report came out looking at, it's like a pretty thorough analysis of cars, of gasoline cars, hybrid cars, and electric cars, comparing their carbon footprint and their lifetime cost. And electric cars are clearly have the lowest carbon footprint. And they're also among the cheapest cars. I mean, there's a range, obviously. But if you consider lifetime cost, the upfront cost is higher. But the lifetime cost is much lower because the fuel per mile is cheaper, the maintenance is cheaper. So if you think about it that way, and it does make sense because most people finance their car, right? You don't pay one chunk of money up front.
Right.
So you are sort of spreading out the cost of the car over time. And so your monthly payment for the loan may be a little higher, but you won't be paying as much for gas. So it kind of does really offset it. You know what I mean?
So it would be advantageous to purchase probably rather than lease in that regard.
I don't know.
Because you're paying a lot of upfront when you're leasing. So, I mean, if the point is to save money over the 15-year life of the car, potentially.
I think it's an independent variable. I think if leasing makes sense, if you're going to turn over your car every few years anyway, buying makes sense financially if you're going to run it into the ground, right? If you're going to drive for 10 years, then that probably, but it makes sense. But I know some people they want a new car every couple of years anyway, so you just lease and just turn it over every couple of years.
Right. That's Not
But that's a separate
unusual.
issue from just all things considered.
Mhm.
Electric
How
cars
many?
are actually cheaper to own and carbon
And you can't beat the
efficient.
carbon footprint. I mean, that
Oh
it's
yeah, it's
got
much
that
lower.
beat
It's
by
much
a
lower. It's like
mile.
LED
So,
bulbs. There was a while where there was like a sort of a sticker shock with LED bulbs. Like, why am I spending $20 on a bulb when I could be spending 30 cents on a bulb? But it was still cheaper over the lifetime of the bulb.
Years, yeah.
sure. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Now, of course,
So
the price has
much.
come down so much that it's a little bit more expensive, but
And that will happen also with
it
cars.
is.
That's the vector, that's the
Yeah.
trajectory. The scales will eventually tip, certainly, and that's a good indication that they're heading in the right direction, Steve. Because then it will make more sense, both economically and
Well, it already
obviously.
does, but it's only going to get better.
Yeah, but
But
it's only going to get better, but
it's important to
to a
note.
point where people's attitudes will change.
Yeah, but it's important to note that it is cheaper to buy an electric car. If you're comparing like comparable cars, like two cars that are the same except one is gasoline and one's electric in terms of luxury, size, all that stuff, performance.
Wait, Steve, I'm sorry. I was a little preoccupied when you started talking because I had to finish up the quiz. Is it better to buy get a hybrid instead of a full gas car?
Yes.
Or
Yep.
and is it
hybrids are better than gasoline, electric are better than hybrids.
Folks.
and as far as so it's worth the extra money is what you're saying.
But it's cheaper though. But it's cheaper. And the thing
Why?
is,
What do you mean? The cost is not cheaper.
Yeah. Electric cars are cheaper over their lifetime.
Oh, yeah. So the lifetime of the vehicle, yeah, but not the sticker price.
Not the sticker price. But the thing is, most people are not paying up front for the sticker price anyway. You're spreading it out over 5 years. Right? What do you got there, Bob?
What is that?
People are commenting on this is the Saturday Evening Post, and they're saying this looks like Linda Carter. It's not. It's how do you pronounce her name? Godot. It's Linda Carter's costume, but it's
it's 1941.
It's the current Wonder Woman.
But was that a picture from 1941?
No.
No, they just drew it in the style of.
I see.
And this, of course, is.
Oh yeah. I remember that the original of that was a cop talking to a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm that's funny, you bring that up, Steve, because my wife and I have been driving the same SUV for so long that like our deal was we were going to drive it until it just, literally just dies, like just go as far as we can. And we're kind of there. We're getting to that point. So, I start nosing around. I'm like, all right, I have kids. I got to get an SUV. I need something that can drive in the snow. And my God, the cost is so unbelievably high.
Yeah.
Prices are insane. I mean, I do all this research. I pick the car, pick the one I like, and I'm like, I can't afford that.
So we live in Connecticut, so we absolutely need a car that can handle the snow. And if you have a family and you want a family car, that family winter car is going to be expensive. But even though it might be more upfront to get electric, if you can find something that fits your need in electric, do it. Because you will save money long term, and I've read multiple articles on the idea that there's a poor tax. What the poor tax is that for people who don't have money, it's actually more expensive to cover their basics because they don't have the money to do things efficiently. Mm-hmm. So it's actually inefficient to be poor. And also the laws sort of conspire to make it more expensive to be poor, right? Which is the opposite of the way it should be.
Right.
So if you have the resources up front, there's all kinds of ways to save money and be more efficient. Like, for example, if you could not finance your car and pay up front, you save all the financing costs, right? Although usually they're pretty minimal now.
Mm-hmm. Especially during a pandemic.
Yeah. What you should do is put money away every month to save up for the car. So you're making interest, not paying interest. Mm-hmm. And then so you should always be paying off for your next car, not your previous car. But you got to get one car ahead in order to make that happen.
That's impossible with today's.
Well, it depends on your resources, but you should try to work towards that goal, over time. So Trump got impeached for a second time.
Yeah, never been. No other president got impeached twice. I mean, in the end, it's all sad for America. You know, it's as much as everybody that listens to the live stream knows, like me personally, like I'm diametrically opposed to Donald Trump in so many freaking ways. It's just ridiculous to even list them at this point. But like the guy still was the president. When he was elected, I gave him the benefit of the doubt, meaning I allowed him to kind of show me what he's got.
Yeah, we said at the time on the show, okay, he got elected. We'll give him a chance. Going forward, we will judge him by what he does. But he immediately started to do things that were problematic, and it just got worse and worse and worse over 4 years. I've been really trying to wrap my head around this. I mean, obviously we could, just state our own personal political opinions, but I'm really trying to understand phenomenologically, like just take a step back, I've been reading a lot of like historians talking about like trying to put the Trump phenomenon into context. And it's one of those things, like the more I read about it and try to be objective about it as much as possible, the worse it gets, And because like when you put it into context, you realize the problem is a lot deeper and a lot bigger. And it obviously goes a lot beyond Trump, but Trump made everything 100 times worse, And the only good thing that you could really say about it is that he might have been so bad that it's a wake-up call, but I don't know if it is.
The jury's out on that. We'll see.
The jury's still out on that.
It could be a great stress test, right? You fix the cracks and you see where the weak points are and you fix them. But is that going to happen?
But there's no cracks. The problems are systemic. They're deep. Yeah. They're deep and they're systemic.
Deep cracks.
The problem is, so let's, for example, talk about the Republican Party, because there's a lot of talk about where's the Republican Party going to go post-Trump? Where are they going to go from here? And, they're really boxed in a lot of ways. And this is why I'm looking very closely at what people like McConnell are going to do, because the question is, do you double down on Trumpism or do you make a clean break? Because you really got to do one or the other. The sort of fragile alliance is Trump destroyed the fragile alliance with the insurrection over the last 2 months, and so, just making it really hard to pretend like this is an ordinary politician and an ordinary political party. It isn't. It's now an anti-democratic insurrectionist party. Unless you make a clean break from all of that. And so really the only consensus I read is that nobody really knows, that it's hard to really predict where things are going to go from here. But the Trump wing of the party is a conspiracy mongering, white supremacist, authoritarian, anti-democratic
denying
party. Yeah. There's just no denying that anymore. Again, I mean, some of us knew that for 4 years, but now it's just like this. It's pretty much undeniable. So, do you apologize for that? Do you incorporate that into your party? Do you try to continue to pretend it's not true, or do you just say, all right, no, we got to make a clean break? Obviously, individuals are doing that, but and there's a lot of speculation about whether the party will literally split. Because which is what happened like to the Whig Party. I know that seems like ancient history, but their rift caused them to split into, and then the Republican Party basically was born out of the not insane part of the Whig Party. You know what I mean?
So they were just so obsessed with Whigs, get some perspective.
Well, there was slavery versus anti-slavery, and then the Whig Party, they embraced slavery, and then the anti-slavery part of the Whig Party split off and became the Republican Party. And then what was left of the Whig Party withered away to nothing. So, I mean, so many things are possible going forward. It's a very interesting thing to watch and to read historians put it into context and to try to think about, what's going to happen from here. But,
I'll tell you one thing that I think we should demand that happens is that we need to make an accounting of we need people to admit, to say publicly that this was that, that Biden was elected fair and square. Yeah. He won. There was no systemic fraud there, and if you can't say that, I'm sorry.
I agree. That's
a huge problem. Because imagine if they
that's
all
the dividing line, Bob. That's the
yes.
dividing line. At this point, because the bottom line is that saying that there was a massive fraud that stole the election from Trump, and Trump actually won in a landslide, blah, blah, all of the stop the steal, big lies, they're calling it. That is the insurrection right there. So basically, that is a coup attempt. That is an attempt. There's no denying this, to overturn a fair and legal election and to install somebody who was not elected. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. There's just no denying it. And if you are in any way abetting that or supporting it or going along with the big lie, you are supporting an attempted insurrection and coup. And that's a completely anti-democratic, authoritarian playbook, straight out of the authoritarian playbook thing to do. That's what Trump has been spending the last 2 months doing. And so anything short of completely separating yourself from and denouncing the big lie is not adequate. Right. It's just not enough.
But what can we do? What can we do for the people that will still, in the weeks and months to come, keep saying that
there is literally a
big lie? Like Mulvaney. Where'd you hear Mulvaney yesterday? Holy crap.
What did he say? Going with the big lie or against
totally
it?
totally going with the big lie, saying that Trump won in a landslide election, November 3rd. He won in a landslide. He was so mad and pissed off. I mean, just fully quadrupling down. At this point, he's still doing that. And we're never going to make much progress unless they all admit to the big lie, or if we can't do anything about it. Because really, what can we do to these people that will continue to promulgate the big lie? What can we do? Saying that we're going to vote him out in 2 years, that's not good enough. I mean, I wish we had. I like the companies that are just drawing up the donations for people that that voted to discount the Electoral College. That's good. You got to hit them where it really hurts.
And there's a PAC who is supporting Republicans who break from the big lie as well. Like, they will support them financially if you support the legitimacy of our election. Those are things you could do.
The big closing argument for me is that, when you look at this from the 30,000 foot view, we have a president and a handful of senators, well, not even a handful, quite a number of senators and people in Congress that legitimately tried to do something which is the ultimate offense to our country, which is overturn the country itself. And we absolutely have to do something to those people. They can't do that and get away with it. I mean, if we at this point, it would have been something before Trump's talk and before the 6th, before the events that took place that day. It would have been still difficult to walk away from Trump without doing something. But now, I mean, the Department of Justice and the FBI have to absolutely track down every single one of these people. And if you're a senator and you were still a part of that, I mean, we know it's bullshit. Anybody that has half a wit knows that the whole thing about the votes was bullshit. So how could we possibly let those people get away with that?
Well, I mean, the people who literally were breaking windows and storming the Capitol building and beating up cops, the FBI is hunting them down, and they will get their day in court.
100 people have been arrested.
Yeah, people have been arrested. So that's clearly the more tricky question is, what do we do politically with the 120 or whatever representatives who voted for the big lie after they stormed the Capitol building?
Yeah. I mean, that's it.
Who
that's what I'm saying.
Supported basically the reason for the insurrection.
We have to do something. Those people have to pay consequences.
Well, but I think the bottom line though, Jay, in our system, the only real consequences is going to be from voters, and the voters are with them. You know, the Republican, voters are so far. I mean, the needle moved a little bit, but there's some encouraging signs there, but still
Steve,
the majority.
I hear you, but it needs to be said. Who gives a shit? That is such a bullshit.
But Jay, what do you say? They have to be held accountable. How?
Well, I don't even know if our government has I've been saying this for months now, the internal teeth to do something for people who make offenses against our country and such a basic level. This isn't complicated. They tried to overturn our democracy. So you telling me, like, I'm not accusing you guys, I'm just saying it, like as a point of interest. Are you guys agreeing to this idea that we have no ability to have people pay consequences, have our politicians pay consequences for pulling an act like that? If we don't, we need our government to change in order to handle it.
There is talk of things like they should not serve on committees and they could be censored, and the ethics committee can investigate them if they did specific things.
Those are always options.
Yeah, so there's some internal kind of out, but the thing is, the only ultimate justice will be at the voting booth, and
that's
at the end of the
ultimate
day,
justice. How about sitting in a prison for 10 years? That's the ultimate justice. The thing is, the whole point to doing something, right? The reason why
who do you want to sit in jail for 10 years though?
Anybody that supported Trump's insurrection after it became an insurrection. I mean,
you're gonna jail a representative for how they voted on a vote.
But at some point, Steve, what's wrong is wrong, right? I mean, think about it.
No, I strongly disagree with you, Jay. But the thing is, you can't. That's exactly the kind of thinking that leads to this activity in the first place. There's a process. We have a system. We have a constitutional, representative democracy, and the rules. The Senate has rules, and they give senators and representatives a lot of leeway. And you can't put somebody in jail for being an asshole, for being wrong, for being stupid. The system is set up so that unless you specifically violate the law or violate internal ethics rules, you can't put somebody in jail for being a shitty politician.
Steve, I agree with you.
The system is set up so that the ultimate power is in the voter. The problem is that we get the representatives that we deserve. If we vote our straight party ticket and if our tribalism trumps, holding our representatives to a moral standard, to an ethical standard, to a competency standard, then it's on us. If we vote for pieces of shit, we can't complain that our politicians are pieces of shit.
Then why do we have seatbelt laws?
Well, I'm telling you, Jay, that there is this is the system we have. The thing is, Jay, you also have to acknowledge that, sometimes, the real question you should be asking is, why do we sometimes let guilty people go free on a technicality, right? Because the system of justice has to be set up to protect innocent people, even if it means some guilty people are going to go free.
I agree with that.
Our political system is set up to guarantee freedom and liberty, and that the system itself, functions, even though it means politicians can sometimes abuse that system. Right? You can't have a system. The problem you get to is in countries where, when one party is out and the other party gets into power, they arrest all the people they just replaced. You know what I mean? Like we can't. Then you're a banana republic. You can't do that.
But Steve,
and I know we're kind of in a no-win scenario. Let me finish it. We're in a no-win scenario when your politicians behave so badly, like they literally supported an insurrection to overturn the government.
Exactly.
When they act so badly, we are in a no-win situation. Because if we do what we need to do, we're setting really difficult precedents.
That was my opener, though, but I think we need that. Look, it's guide rails, right? We want our politicians, God, there could be so many different philosophies out there. And either one of our political parties could literally morph into anything. They could become anything. You're right. It's the voter will. But what I'm saying is There are places that you absolutely cannot go.
I know. And that's why I agree that Trump needed to be impeached. Absolutely.
But Steve, the people that enabled, right? Like we're getting news now that that somebody brought those guys, like the insurrectionists, if that's what you want to
different. Call them. If they did anything to materially support the insurrection, then that's criminal. That's different. But we just can't criminalize politics. And that's going to mean that there are times when we have to just say that politicians get away with shitty things, and the only way to really punish them is at the voting booth. I know it
I hear
sucks,
what you say. I know, because
but we got to err on that side, just like we have to err on the side of letting guilty people go free rather than putting innocent people in jail.
But can we role play real quick, and let's pretend we're in a court, right? And,
yeah.
And we got Ted Cruz sitting there, and he's being questioned, and the lawyer goes, "Okay, so after Trump gave that speech to incite insurrection, and then insurrection happened, right? Like people tried to physically take over. They were bringing things in to harm people, to detain people. That one guy with the zip ties was actually going to, take hostages, all that stuff. So let me understand your thinking, please. Oh my God, hold on. I gotta finish what I'm saying, and my father-in-law is calling me because my car got towed. Give me 1 second.
All right, so I'll finish what you were saying for you. Well, I'll just let me finish what I was saying, then you can come back. So there are mechanisms to deal with like what Cruz did, for example. And this is where it's not criminal, it's more professional regulation.
Yeah, he was, right?
So like if you're a lawyer, you could be disbarred, or you could be kicked out of your professional organization. So like Giuliani is probably going to lose, be kicked out of the New York, whatever state law association, might be disbarred, for what he did. That's not the same as a criminal, criminalizing what he did, right? So you can in the Senate, they have their own professional rules and professional ethics and things that they can do. They could, for example, say that you can't hold a position on any committee, for example. Or they could censor you. They could do things like that. But I think we should be very careful before we cross the line of criminalizing politics. That's a very dangerous line to cross. You have to have done something that was outside of politics. That was like, you literally helped, the insurrectionists into the building, or helped them case the joint, or whatever
Steve,
things are being investigated.
My point, though, was that if you have a line of reasoning, like in a court of law, where you're asking, so after you knew that insurrectionists were in the building and Trump, incited them, in essence, your support for the illegitimate claims are in essence in support of insurrection. I mean, this is not, a complicated word salad. It's so plain as day.
Yeah, but that's not the same thing as it being criminal. And in fact, that's covered under free speech. It's all covered under free speech. So, what Cruz's cost should be, his political career is over, right? That should be the cost of doing what he did.
Yeah, but it won't be, because we have.
It can be. I think he totally hurt his political career. Totally. But again, a lot of will depend upon. This is why I think I said, whether it was on the show or last week on the stream, if the extremists are 39% or 29% or whatever, then we could deal with that. If they become 51%, our democracy is over, right? This is the problem. And this is the problem with allowing these things to simmer. And when I hope that the Republican Party has their come to Jesus moment, is that they realize that they let the Trump phenomenon simmer for 4 years. They let his authoritarianism, his white supremacy, all those things simmer for too long, and until it blew up in their face to a degree that they probably never considered that it would. Although his critics were saying, this is what's going to happen if you continue to let this simmer. So this, some people are saying this is a vindication for the never Trumpers and for his critics. It totally is, because this is exactly, this is the worst case scenario of what the Trump critics have been warning about for 4 years. These are that's why you have to nip authoritarianism in the bud, because if you don't, this is what happens. Something like this eventually, right? So again, like imagine if Trump squeaked by and won another 4 years and then continued his authoritarian, rule breaking and norm breaking for 4 more years, that's then imagine what would happen. I mean, it's very scary.
I can't even think of what another 4 years with him would have brought.
Right. And you can't say, like, you just cannot say that Trump is not an authoritarian after the last 2 months, after he literally tried to overthrow a free and fair election and steal the presidency for another 4 years. That's it. That is a coup. That's what authoritarians do. Trump would have made America into a banana republic just for his own personal ego. That's what he's been trying. He is still trying to do. He's still trying to do that. He still hasn't conceded to Biden, said that the election was fair. And again, nothing short of that will do. Nothing short of that will pull him back from supporting, fomenting an insurrection, which is why he needs to be impeached and his post-presidency career needs to go down in flames. And nothing less than that will really, be good enough in terms of the U.S. recovering from what he did to it.
But we know we're not going to get that. I mean, he has maneuvered himself in the past week. He has fomented so much ill will towards him. Yeah. It's like an explosion of ill will. I mean, in my opinion, he runs a criminal organization, and he and his family need to be, they need to be taken apart piece by piece. Like this is the big part of, a democracy and a free world, which I, stand by completely. But this is the part that sucks, because so many people get these get out of jail free cards for all of these illegitimate reasons. Like, Evan, it's like tax code, right? There's so many ways to maneuver that system, but overall it works, but it's got major flaws built into it. And you can't tell me that we can't fix this. You can't tell me that we can't pass a law that says, hey, if you work for the government and you in any way support seditious behavior, you're fucked. That's it.
Yeah, but and they have laws like that in Germany. Like, you can't be a fascist in Germany, but we just don't have that in the U.S. because
has to pass the Constitution.
Yeah, it's just unconstitutional. I don't think it would pass First Amendment.
It probably would not
muster.
I hear you. I know, but I got you. But I guess the part that troubles me so much is that in this instance, in particular, the things that we all went through this past year, it was so obvious.
Yeah.
It's like there's a pedophile in a courtroom and the guy's right there, and you just want to walk over to him and deliver that guy instant justice, and you can't, because we have this system that's in place.
That's right.
That's exactly
that's
right.
But
thank goodness for that.
I know,
system.
But Evan, the painful part for so many of us, especially skeptics, is we're all like one of the parents of a child that got taken advantage of by a pedophile. We want to walk over and be like, no, no, we are not. This is all of this fanfare and the court and the judge and all that. It's bullshit, because we know what we have to do. And I get that we can't do that, but my God, can't we come up with something that makes the system work better and take some of the freaking red tape out of it? I mean, no. Steve, we have people in our Senate who are still functioning. They still have, even the president tried to take over our government, and he's still the president. I mean,
Jay, we've had senators who have been Klan members. We've had Supreme Court justices who have been Klan
I know, but it all sucks.
So, I mean,
I'm not disagreeing with you.
It's not against the law to be an asshole.
Right.
It's not against the law to be wrong. It's not against the law to be a fascist. It's just, as long as you're not taking up arms against the government of the United States.
But that happened.
I know that, and I know that. That's why he got impeached.
And they are being arrested.
So that's why he got impeached.
Why isn't the FBI arresting the president?
They are. Why isn't
they're arresting the president?
The president,
no.
Yes.
You can't, because the president, you cannot. The president is basically immune from criminal law while president.
Oh my God! Talk about
because
bullshit. There it is.
I'm telling you, this is the way it should be. That's the way it is. And that's the way the Justice Department has interpreted the Constitution and the laws, that you cannot take legal action against a sitting president because it interferes with their ability to do their job. The remedy for a president breaking the law is impeachment.
All right, I hear you.
That's the way the system works, and they did it.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree, but in this situation, though, we have to, because look at the faults that we're dealing with right now. So let and I know maybe some people don't even agree with this, but let's say that Donald Trump did something that was so bad that we had to pull we had to pull whatchamacallit number 25 on him and remove him, right? But because the vice president is loyal, then it's not going to happen.
Yeah, he could have invoked the 25th Amendment, absolutely.
Right, but that's broken, though. You understand what I'm saying, though? Because we might need the 25th Amendment to pull a president out of the seat, like what, in my opinion, right now, right?
So, Jay, listen, I agreed with you that this whole episode requires us to take a look at the internal rules of government, and there may be some guardrails that need strengthening. Yeah. And there are things that we need to do so that there are more checks and balances in place, right? There's quote unquote checks and balances in the system. And they broke down because, again, this is the question, why did it break down? Some people think it's because the framers didn't anticipate that, party tribalism would be this extreme. Because if party tribalism becomes absolute, then the checks and balances largely go away. Right. At some point, the thing is, it's like this saying, the forest can't be green unless the trees are all green. Right. You can't design a system that's just unless the people in the system value justice over themselves. So in our democracy, in our government, unless there are people willing to put principle and country over party and their individual political interests, there's no system that could function. There's no system that can protect us if nobody agrees to use, to abide by the system. You know what I mean? And that's what we were saved. We were saved in Trump's failed insurrection over the last couple of months by individual judges, individual politicians at the state and local level who were willing to put the system, the process, the law above their party.
Yeah, you're right. And that's, Steve, you are so rational. It makes me sick. I'm
really tired of it. I'm really tired.
I know, right? I'm blowing a gasket over here, and Steve, I really like the way your brain works, because you are actually using logic and critical thinking to talk me off of my emotional precipice. But I look, Steve, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. And we have to have processes and everything. But I guess one point I'm trying to make is I think we need processes that work faster in certain circumstances.
Well, again, yes, we can round off some edges and we could tweak things. That's why we do need to do that. But the ultimate solution is we need an electorate that's more critical thinking. There's no, because again, there's no rules. If
more critical thinking.
No, think about it. There is no. This is what we learned. This is
let's make it happen.
We all sort of suspected this, but now we know it. We were slapped in the face with, yes, it's actually worse than you thought.
Yeah,
that the system will not protect us against people who are not critical thinking, who are whatever, who are tribal, who are basically in a cult, who are conspiracy theorists, whatever. We won't be protected by them from the system if they reach critical mass. They reached critical mass in one of our two political parties, and for 4 years they reached critical mass enough to have a conspiracy thinking, know nothing president. And if they were even just a little bit more, they might have reached critical mass to overthrow our democracy. You know what I mean? But they didn't. And so, what we need to do is reduce their numbers to the point where this can't happen again, And the other thing to point out is they are in the minority, but they're combining all of this with mechanisms of minority rule, like gerrymandering and voter suppression. Those are things we absolutely can do something about.
Yeah, you're right. And I get it. The process has to be there. I totally get it. You're right. I want things to happen swiftly just because I guess part of it is fatigue, right? I mean, that's where I think
I agree.
We're largely just so, oh my God. I mean, think about it, guys. We're not going to have to blow steam off on this live stream about politics pretty soon. Pretty soon, we're not going to have to talk about Trump anymore. Just thinking that's going to... Me too, Ev. I know what you're saying. The guy's going to stick around to some degree, but I mean, we're going to have
politics will continue, Jay. I mean,
sure, but
problems don't go away because Trump's out of the office.
We barely talked about Obama during Obama's 8 years. Like, we would have our email chains and we talk about stuff, but my God, compared to with Trump, I mean, this guy has become like someone that's in bed with me. I'm looking at his face more than anybody else's face in my life.
We're 40 minutes into this broadcast and we haven't talked.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Jay, remember when Obama wore that tan suit? We lost our shit when that happened.
Oh, hell yeah. That was like, I'm still fucking.
Well, here's the thing, Jay, and I've been thinking a lot about this, obviously, because it's a real dilemma for us as skeptical activists, as scientific skeptics, because on the one hand, politics is so emotional. It's hard to teach people how to think critically in the context of like a heated political, emotions. On the other hand, there is so much opportunity for critical thinking in, politics in America today.
Totally.
Like this is a good, trial by fire. Like, can you step back from your emotions? Can you step back from politics, from your ideology, from your tribe? Think critically, think fairly, and there's also we're dealing with lots of conspiracy theories and lots of logical fallacies and things, false equivalencies coming out of our asses. I mean, it's like it's a gold mine. Like I told you guys, like I watched like 2 hours of the impeachment trial in the House the other day, and it was a game of name that logical fallacy.
Yeah,
it was on both sides. It was terrible. Not to make an equivalency, but I mean, most of politicians don't make cogent, fact-based, logical arguments. They make emotional arguments or political arguments.
Appeal to, emotion.
Yeah, a lot of appeal to emotion.
90% of it is
a lot of straw men, a lot of non sequiturs. But a lot of it was posturing.
During our 15 years at the SGU and 16. And then what the 15 years before that, right, or the 10 years before that. All of our skeptical experience, and now we go through this political maelstrom of insanity, and all of a sudden I'm like, there isn't a human area that critical thinking wouldn't benefit being applied.
You can apply it to anything. Like, should apply it to everything.
Like, and I'll go back to saying it's the same thing with pseudoscience and bad medicine and all that stuff. Children need to be taught critical thinking in many different forms over the decade and a half that they're in school.
It's a civic duty.
It is.
Democracy depends upon an electorate that has a certain minimal ability to think critically.
Carl Sagan wrote about that very thing in Demon Haunted World.
We need media savvy. We need to be a certain amount of media savvy. We need a certain amount of like civic scientific literacy, and we need critical thinking skills. Enough that you can, that we can have a conversation about like how to deal with shit. And as I made this point previously, the world is getting dangerous, like with pandemics and everything, global warming, etc. If we don't get our political shit together, it's going to be the future's going to be very difficult.
Yeah,
it's going to be very hard on us.
All right, let's give everybody a break now and just move away decisively from this topic. Yes. My God, how many more Fridays do we have to do this before we just give? I just can't wait to give up the ghost, man.
Well,
I just better never be in a room alone with Donald Trump. That's all I got to say. Anyway, Evan, I have been loving the puzzle behind you.
Yeah, a lot of people have. There's a lot of discussion about it. Like,
totally, it was fun. I was sitting there and I'm like,
can you zoom in on it, Ian?
Yeah, and I think I can zoom my camera in a bit. It gets you a little closer.
Yeah, that works. That's totally fine. I had a lot of fun looking at that, trying to see everything. I mean, there's lots of different ways to build the numbers, but why don't you take it over, Ev?
And so there's an official answer to this puzzle, but I also think that some people have made some good cases for particularly one of the numbers that they say is not in there. And let me start at the beginning. I put out some rules here early on saying that we're looking for the digits 0 through 9 in this assembly of lines and things. So that's a possibility of having 10, maximum 10 would be your guess. That's how many numbers you could potentially get out of this. So the official answer is that there are 9 numbers. Mm-hmm. And what they're saying is that you cannot get the number 5 out of here. But someone pointed out, and I thought it was fair, I'll go to the board, is that, I'm sorry, upside down does count in this, because that's
okay, go ahead.
Let me see. You get your 7. Okay, here's your upside down 7.
That's it. That took me a while.
But someone said there's an upside down 5 here. So it's here, and then you come around here and come back here.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
no, totally. If you're going to count upside down, yeah, that's a 5.
I think so. So I think the official answer to the puzzle is incorrect, and I think you can get all 10 digits.
Oh yeah, there sure is a 5 in there. You just can't see it clearly, like the 8 or the 6 or the 4.
Correct.
But it's in there. It's in there with which, and it's not a weird looking 5. It's actually a correct looking 5, without a doubt.
It's just fully upside down. Yeah.
Fully upside down.
So it's 8 right side up and 2 upside down.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's cool. Whoever did that, whoever created that, was very clever.
It was clever. Found it on YouTube, of all places. Great place to find all kinds of puzzles and all sorts of good things.
YouTube. Can we talk about YouTube real quick now that you bring it up? So it's
too controversial.
Did you ever think about how perfect the name YouTube is? Whoever came up with the name YouTube is a genius. Because it has, what do you call it? It has internal alliteration, like it rhymes with itself.
Yeah.
And the other, that's just the branding of it, which I find genius. But YouTube has become such a critical, important part of my I don't want to say daily. I don't want to overdo it.
I use it daily. I'll admit it. I'm in there every day.
But think about it.
It's something.
I'm buying a washing machine. I have to buy a dishwasher, rather. My dishwasher is literally about to explode, right? Just like my car, like that, working it to the bitter end. You get on YouTube, you can find people that you could see it in a way that the manufacturer would never take pictures or video of. You could get multiple people giving you information. You can learn almost anything. I mean, I learned how to build stone walls on YouTube. I learned how to fix my car on YouTube. I learned how to do woodworking on YouTube. It is a collection of human intelligence, of human information.
I built the computer I'm on right now from watching YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an instruction manual come to life.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get it down to the model number that people will have. I mean, it's precisely that model that you are looking for. And here's how you do it. Yep. Great. And
YouTube also sounds like what we used to call the TV. You guys remember that?
Yes.
The what now?
The boob tube. The boob tube.
Yes.
But YouTube gives us, it's like the Herculean effort in, crowdsourcing, right? There's so many people out there creating this information and timely information. YouTube needs to be saved and preserved. It's important. It's a human history machine as well. You can go back and imagine what it'll be like 100 years from now. They can look at videos of that people uploaded off their phones. They can look at products that don't exist anymore.
I know.
It's a great archive.
I know. I mean, I often think, how much fun would it be, like 200 years from now, 300 years from now, to be able to look back at this period of time and have so much, documentation in the quality that we have. Imagine us being able to look at modern quality video of like 1600 of the Revolutionary War.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, it would be mind blowing.
But I think
how far in the future, Steve?
He said a few hundred.
I'm just saying. Imagine.
We're not even going to give a shit.
I think he said 300 years.
Why Bob?
Because we're not even 300 years. We're not even going to be human.
Stop it.
Let's see what the ants were doing 300 years ago.
I don't know.
That would be totally fascinating.
Don't even. It's so hard to talk about because we don't know. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, if we have meta humans roaming around, it's a totally all bets are off. But the point is, I do.
I gotta say it. Sorry.
The Og.
I do believe in 300 years there will still be human-like creatures roaming the earth. But
human zoos.
One thing there will be humans. There will be humans. There will be.
Imagine if we
not like
there will be blood.
If we pack people into a spaceship and we're like, all right, guys, you're going to go and make a new place for humanity to live in the universe somewhere, right? YouTube is one of the catalogs of information that we have to give them. Like they should have. Every book, every important book, which is kind of funny to say what's important, but YouTube is an amazing resource. And I think it's part of humanity in a way that the people who created it never thought it would be.
Well, this brings up a point that we've touched on the show before, and that is, digital archiving. There's so much digital data being created by the world, and we don't have the room to store it all and preserve it and then what medium do we put it in?
Right.
And then we may get to the point where we're losing more information every day, than's being created. Or that, we're losing a library of information every day just because it's not storable, in a practical way.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's funny. The science fiction fantasy is like, you'll be able to have all the aggregate of human achievement, like on a marble-sized glass sphere. You know what I mean? Like it's all in there. You know, like will we ever get to that data density? Bob, answer the question.
A marble, yeah. I mean, atomic scale, memory storage, or even lower than that. Neutron, proton, whatever.
Quark storage.
But yeah, I don't know if you're going to get
Planck storage.
I was going to say femto, but Steve beat me with Planck.
Yeah, with Planck storage, right? But that's just a crazy scale. You don't even want to go there. But a marble size, yottabytes in a marble, I don't know, man. That's
love the yottabytes.
Pretty dense.
Another thing about YouTube that would be good to send with people that are going on like the Mars mission, if it ever happens, it's the amount of entertainment on YouTube alone. Just the fun stuff. It's not just, things that you want to know about. It's just, the La La dog. That was a YouTube phenomenon.
Half of Jay's Noisies.
Yeah, like just all
that's serious. It is.
But that's part of life. We have to have time to enjoy ourselves, and levity is important. Self-care. My doctor smacked me on the head with that last time I was talking to my doctor. He's like, "Do you even know what self-care is?" I'm like, well, yeah, you put a Band-Aid on. He said, "No, that's not self-care. It has nothing to do with putting a Band-Aid on yourself." And I learned about self-care, and I realized it's okay to take a break. You ever have those days where you feel guilty when you're taking a break?
Never.
Some people do.
What's a break?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you have such a workload on top of you that there are times when you're just like, when you have kids, it's one of those things I think a lot of people adopt. It's like you never let your guard down. You just feel like there's so many things to do. I've got right now, I've got 4 curtains to either fix or hang in my house. I've got to clean my garage. I've got so many projects that I need to do, but I still deserve every day to take some time off and enjoy myself. You got to do it.
All right, here's a question. In 200 years, what will people think of 20th, early 21st century pornography?
Oh, it'd be a joke.
Oh boy. What will they think?
In 200 years?
Well,
I mean, Steve,
if I saw pornography that was produced 200 years ago from now,
but is that a viable comparison?
Probably not.
Yeah,
they're going to think that we were unnecessarily straitjacketing ourselves.
Because in 200 years, there's going to be, augmented
have you watched pornography?
Brothels and stuff. I mean, people are just going to be, calling up whatever. Yeah,
we don't know.
Well, Steve, I think the pornography of the future is literally going to be having sex
dolls
virtually or
sex
robot sex.
Like
you're going to be able to do your fantasy.
Yeah,
teledildonics.
But even more than that, Bob,
I'll tell him, Bob. 200
years, we're going to have sex robots that will do whatever you want. You know what I mean?
A harem. Yeah, if you're into that thing.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to have to figure out a way to keep
Do you
sex
think that
robots away
ordinary,
from young
just like video pornography will be obsolete in 200
years? Oh, hell yeah.
years?
Would you rather look at a screen or do it with a robot?
We will have created forms of pleasure that make having orgasms and having sex seem like, a tickle by a feather. It's just going to be like,
oh, well, we're going to unlock some sort of new sets of sensations in our brains?
Yeah, sure. I'm sure
why not? If you can.
Is that really, Steve?
Well, I mean,
Wait. That sounds a little like we got the untapped part of the brain kind of thought there.
Sure. So if you directly stimulate like a TASP, like that science fiction weapon from Niven's Ringworld books, you directly stimulate the pleasure center of the brain. Maximum pleasure.
Hyperstimulation.
Let me ask you guys.
But that's not a good thing, though.
Let me ask
Why
you
would
guys
that
a
be
question.
good?
Would you guys be able to fall in love with a robot?
Yeah.
Probably.
Bob, what do you say?
If it's sentient, sure.
You can't be an idiot.
I
mean, not Rosie from the Jetsons.
Maybe you don't know if it's sentient. We might have to accept at some point that robots need love too in the human future. Like they might need.
Yeah, but they can
contact.
be programmed for.
Yeah, it won't matter if it's
that.
sentient. It only matter if it acts as if it's sentient. Right? It's like I think if there's one thing that
true.
the stripper industry has proven.
Yeah, that's implied.
Is that it doesn't matter if it's sincere. Guys are very easy to allow themselves to be fooled.
That's true.
It's about us fleshy things.
Yeah.
I've thought about that. I mean,
that reminds me of a joke. It's like if you want to be successful in a relationship, you have to be sincere. If you could fake that, you got it made.
Yeah.
Is that a Marx Brothers joke?
I think so. I don't know.
It's old. Sounds about right.
It's old.
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson.
Somebody
Somebody wrote if it's Scarlett Johansson. She really is to me like freakishly attractive. She's very, very attractive. Like, you know, it's just she's one of those people that just like, oh my God, I can't take it, you know.
Somebody just asked me if I read The Metamorphosis of Prime Intellect. I just started that book. I got it for Christmas for my daughter Ashley. Can't wait to check it out. It's like a post-singularity book that I just started. So yes.
You got her a gift that you're going to borrow right away?
Also, Steve's getting called out in the chat. Captain Disillusion said Steve said he wouldn't be into Rosie the Robot a little too fast.
Alan, how you doing, man? Alan, someday we'll actually be able to see each other in person again. Imagine that.
What does in person mean?
Yeah, I know. It was funny. I had to go to
space.
I had to go to my kids' school today to pick up like their paperwork and stuff. You know, like there's the teachers are, you know, every once in a while have to give the students stuff. And I go in and I can't find something. So I knock on the window. I can look into the office and knock on the window. And the woman like looks at me and we both have that moment of realization, like we have to interact in meet space, right? So she had to come into the area, but we were like standing 10 feet apart from each other with masks on and kind of like leaning away from each other, like just giving the body language, like, you know, like we are not going to, you know, interact more close than this. And I'm thinking like, how are we going to go back to normal? Is it going to be hard? Is it going to feel weird? Is it going to take a while? Will we be unsure about how far we want to go in certain circumstances? You know, it might take months or a year to unwind from all of this.
Sure, for some people,
we're doing.
I could see that.
So so this is Alan, Captain Disillusion. Have you?
Yes.
He's been showing up to these for a while. Alan, why don't we just have you on the next Friday live stream that we do in 2 weeks?
2 weeks from today.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That would be a lot of fun.
I'm inviting you in public, so it would be awkward for you to say no.
Yeah, really. But if you don't show up, we'll just bash you. So it's good.
We'll still talk about you. Yeah.
Just kidding.
Alan has one of the best skeptically oriented YouTube shows of all time.
So entertaining.
If not the best.
Yeah,
I mean,
awesome.
it is skepticism by the balls, right? It's like, let me show you exactly how this is bullshit. I just love it. It's exciting to see him unstitch all of that nonsense.
To do it through the character and everything. It's just so clever. It's very brilliant. Enjoyable.
Or just pick whatever Friday you're free. It doesn't have to be in 2 weeks. What else do you guys want to talk about?
Let's do the quiz.
Do we move the quiz? Yes. Go on the quiz.
It's quiz time.
Quiz and then some questions. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, quiz and questions. Yeah, we have a bunch. Darkenergy.games, of course, is the link, everyone, if you can find that. I don't think anybody got a Wolfie or a bingo.
Is that what they needed?
They need to.
It has to be organic. You can't. I mean,
hey, I did my.
I do see all the suggestions for the, you know, but I'm not compelled. It does not compel me to want.
No, I will only do it organically.
Yeah, if you ask me to drop an F-bomb, it's not happening.
Yeah, no fucking
way.
Bunch
of it's it's close. A couple people are like one away. Again, darkenergy.games for the quiz.
I love that the game is called Wolfie.
Wolfie. Let me send a link.
Yeah, Ian, give us our link.
Yeah, sorry. Let me do that. And we will.
So while Ian is prepping for that, I'll give you guys a quick 12-hour show update. So, you know, we're in the final stretch. I dropped off a whole bunch of stuff, you know, some gear that I had to purchase. And
Jay's got the gear.
Ian and I will be in there all next week, you know, putting it all together. All of us are, other than Steve, who finished all of his content, all of us still have content stuff to work on. Right, guys?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm still working on content.
Hey, Ian, did you drop us the correct link?
I think so. Did I not?
I've got options here. Play anonymously or play with profile.
That's new. Oh, by the way, it's updated. It's updated. Yeah, Ian, tell them all about it.
So basically, you can create a profile. We're still, and Frank, shout out to Frank from Dark Energy, is making a leaderboard. So eventually we'll be able to show that potentially on stream, or it's something you can click over to, but it'll track your progress throughout all of these quizzes. So if you do wish to create an account, we would recommend it. please consider doing that. Otherwise, you can just play as a guest for now. And
Well,
I
you
guess
might
for
as-
us, you can play anonymously for us because we have a special link.
Well, do create your account if you're going to watch the 12-hour show, because there's going to be quizzes
That's
during
true.
the 12-hour
yeah.
show.
You know what? Why don't you guys? Yeah, if you want to, SGU, you can make one.
I'll tell you now.
Okay,
I'll drop
make
it
my
here
profile.
now.
All right,
I'll drop it for as our heavily patroned live stream audience.
A lot of work here.
Whoever wins the quiz challenge during the 12-hour show, basically take all the quizzes, and whoever gets the highest score, and then if people have the same highest score, we will have to go to a random selection. But somebody is going to win a sword.
A sword of what?
A sword.
Oh, yes, a sword.
Yes, you will win a sword. How about that?
For 400.
400.
Here's a question from Mitch in Discord. Question: does Bob want a 3D printer?
Yes, Bob wants a 3D printer.
Of course.
Evan, I mean, yeah.
I mean, it depends on if it's a good one. Yeah, it's inevitable. It's going to happen at some
That's
point.
right. Mitch, let us know what the 3D printer is that you recommend.
And why the hell would you offer it to Bob of all people?
I don't know. I mean, because Bob has all the figurines. I think that's he could make stuff behind them and stuff like that.
Why me? What the hell is that supposed to mean?
Fuck you, Bob.
Who am I to be interested in 3D printing technology?
Bob, I knew that.
Okay, next quick question, Steve. How is your dog?
Great.
Yeah.
So he's still a puppy, even though he's a year and a half. He'll be 2 in June. But he's very affectionate, very fun. It's an awesome pet. But he still is stubborn, and he thinks that when people drive up to the house and drop a package off, that they're delivering chew toys for him.
Because all of Steve's mail is a chew toy.
So we got a delivery box, which the delivery people don't seem to like to use for some reason.
Because the dog is in the yard, Steve. They're afraid of the dog. Bob, somebody said you can print a sex robot. If you get the 3D printer, get on that.
Okay.
I
That's
will.
expensive.
Yes, we have confirmed guests for the 12-hour show. We're going to put that up on the skepticsguide.org/12-hour. That's the link.
For anybody also that's looking for the quiz link, it's darkenergy.games on Facebook. It's pinned on YouTube. It is also pinned. We have about 400 people who've joined thus far.
So, hey, guys, another thing I want to tell everyone. So, if you're a patron, you have been sent a message over Patreon that tells you how to submit your images to us for the 12-hour show. So, if you haven't done that, please do it. I think we've gotten a couple of hundred images so far.
Oh, yeah. And people were asking what the criteria are for the patron pictures and what they're going to be used for.
We're just going to show them on the screen. Like, we're going to literally show them randomly, whatever. We're going to put them in a folder, and Ian's going to have them just be picked up and shown randomly. There's no criteria other than you can't put up something that, like, if young kids happen to be watching the 12-hour show, that you wouldn't want them to see, right? I mean, we're going to let a lot of things pass, but like no nudity, nothing crazy. Crazy meaning vulgar, but send me a picture of whatever you want. I mean, it doesn't even have to be you. We'll show it, but it would be nice to put your face up there because it's like a community thing.
Yeah.
The other thing is that we will be putting up the recipes on the link, which is theskepticsguide.org/12-hour. So you'll have the meatball recipes, the tomato sauce. I believe Steve's salad recipe is going to go up there. I also believe that Bob is making focaccia, which we should put the recipe up there. And it'll give you all the station identification, like who, what, where, and when. We'll probably give the list of guests up as well. But we're adding stuff to that daily now, so you'll see it.
And it's 12-hour show /12-hour show. Here it is at the link.
I'm sorry, 12-hour show. Sorry.
12-hour really big shoe.
And that's where all the recipes and the taste test, right? You said that, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see if we had it. And also, if you're in the Discord, make sure to check out the VR channel because there's also some photo submissions there, but it's mostly for superheroes, forgotten superheroes of science, and any other skeptical heroes that we're going to put in the VR space. Okay, so let's synchronize the game. I think we have enough people here.
I agree.
Cool.
So here we go. I'm going to count down, and there'll be a click noise from my face. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Click. There you go.
I get my clock is off. 2 seconds.
1 second.
All right, let's see what the latency is, everybody. Make sure to spam.
Here come the numbers. And by the way, all these numbers appeared in the puzzle earlier in this episode.
So also Fox was asking, do we need to worry about corporate logos in the pictures we submit? I don't think so.
No, don't worry about that.
I think it's fine. It's going to be small. It's not like a big image. It'll be in the background kind of. While we're waiting for people to spam that, here's a question. Steve has mentioned the fairness doctrine several times, which I had to look up, and I wonder how much of a difference it would make in this day of social media and blurry lines between bloggers and press.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? But it certainly, I think, was a bad thing to abandon the fairness doctrine. That, I think, was the beginning of a lot of, this is the idea that if you're a news organization, you need to cover, all sides. You can't play favorites, essentially. Mm-hmm. And getting rid of that gave birth to the rise of like dedicated ideological, one-sided news. And I think that has been a negative influence on American politics, is my opinion. But at this point, the genie may be out of the bottle. I don't know if bringing something like it back would have any effect. Who knows?
Okay, I think we got everybody. Somebody says they're 2 weeks latency, so that's
2 weeks. Okay,
2 weeks.
Yeah, that's all right. A fortnight. Hashtag fortnight. Okay, so we're going to keep going. If it says too far behind, just play along with the screen and versus the live stream. And here we go. Starting.
Oh boy,
there it is. Put the music on.
Boom, boom, boom. What connects a muscle to bone? Skin, tendon, ligament, fat.
In my body, everything is connected to fat at this point.
Waka waka.
Waka waka.
Evan, I love that image behind you.
I like it too. It's
so Bob, right?
Yeah. I remember sending that to Bob.
I considered getting a T-shirt with that on it, but I went with Whoa! Wait a second.
Slow down, Bob.
Bob, don't give away the
don't
answer.
Don't say anything until Ian says it's okay.
Yeah, and also
the answer is wrong.
It's wrong.
Yeah, you flipped
ligaments
it, Jay.
are bone to bone. Tendon is bone to muscle.
For Christ's sake, I am so sorry, everyone.
Mm.
This is what I get. Oh, Evan zoomed in. That means he's angry.
Yeah, right.
So we're playing science, or science or fiction.
My angry
this
cam.
one.
Dun,
Wait,
dun,
so the answer is tendon.
The answer is tendon.
Yep, that's what I get for prepping the quiz.
Everyone gets a freebie. Everybody gets a freebie. One
Oh,
coiled
right,
DNA piece is called what? Ribosome, nucleus, chromosome, cytoplasm. Oops, somebody said impeach Jay. Oops. Sorry, Jay.
Fast too.
It's been a fun ride.
Yep. Genes and chromosomes.
There it is.
Bob?
Yes. Yeah, I think everybody sees it now. So
Chromosome.
Chromo.
So Evan, I was looking for a cool robot evolution T-shirt like that, and I opted to get instead one that showed humanity, and then a human with a pet robot, and then a human with like a sentient partner robot, and then just a robot, just like dancing
Yeah, that's
away.
right.
I love that one.
Yeah, but then the next one is a robot has a human pet.
Yeah.
All right.
I've seen that. I think I've seen that.
I will be a
cell
pet.
or a cell organelle known as, I believe,
Sorry,
a cell
yes,
organelle known as a cell's powerhouse is called endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria again apparently, and ribosome.
Uh-oh.
See that? I rush and I make many mistakes.
The mistakes are many.
Oh no, the right answer was
the first
mitochondria, but I chose mitochondria.
I legitimately
pick the first
need to be
mitochondria.
impeached.
Impeached.
I should be completely fired from this quiz.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But I picked.
I'll
defend
you, Jay. I'll defend you.
No, I got it. I got my Trump excuse.
Here's the third one.
We are testing the updates. This quiz doesn't count. We're testing the updates.
Right.
Oh, it doesn't count.
That's
oh,
what
God.
it is.
Yeah, it
Good thing I
doesn't
entered
count.
Melmite.
What?
What? Also, somebody said the music is great. Who made the music?
George Hrab.
There it is. Here we go. Diabetes is a resulting disease due to a problem in the pancreas, heart, liver, or kidneys.
This is all so easy for Steve.
You better get this one right, Jay. Right now, you're 1 out of 3.
I know, right? My car got towed today. I was like rushing to get here.
Oh, here we
Where?
go.
My toe got card today. So
I know.
strange.
Nice.
It was really exciting. So I dropped stuff off at the studio, and as I'm leaving Steve's house, I see Steve walking with Sagan and his wife, right? Because Steve has daily exercise.
Yeah.
And I got so excited to see my family, who I don't get to really see that often, that I just opened the window and started yelling at them, which is basically what I do. It was awesome.
All right, moving on to the next
Ian.
question. It's almost done. I still have 5 seconds. Mine is delayed for you.
Oh, wow.
Here we go. A sweet potato is a modified what? Root, leaf, branch, or stem?
The genetically modified. Oh.
They are genetically modified.
How else are you going to how else do you modify something unless
I know, right?
genetically?
There was
It's
a
such a stupid thing.
There was a sweet potato they discovered, like a not genetically modified, but it had a gene from horizontal gene transfer. It had like a soil bacteria gene in it.
Oh.
Just naturally,
Not it's all natural.
It's a good example of like, only potato genes in my potato. Yeah, except for actual potatoes that have bacterial genes in them.
Oh, so Steve, I have bad news.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Kevin Folta lost his banana crop to a freeze.
Oh no.
So
To Dr. Freeze? Oh,
he
that
will
bastard.
send us bananas, but we won't be able to do it on the 12-hour show. He's going to send us a bunch of other fruit. But
All right,
not
send us other stuff, but no
Damn.
bananas for the 12-hour show.
I was
Yes,
very
we
upset.
have no bananas for the
Very
12-hour
upset.
show.
I still don't believe that those Gros Michel exist until I eat one.
Wait, you can still get them. Can we get them from somebody else for next? That's probably 1 week away or
Oh my
so.
God.
Probably not going to happen.
Maybe
All
a
right, now-
listener out there has a stockpile they can.
Look at this. We're
overnight.
seeing everybody in the results. Everybody
That's right.
that
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So everybody who
Never
got 100% actually
Got one
only
wrong.
got 80%.
Liars. That's
Yep.
right.
This is just a test of
Well,
this broadcast.
Conversely, a lot of
potentially
80%ers.
60%, right? Was there 2 wrong?
Well, there was one that the right answer was repeated twice. It was a 50. It was a coin flip whether you guessed the correct right answer.
It was
Yeah, that's
just
true.
a test. That's all this was a test.
So okay,
true.
so these scores will be erased and refreshed for next week. Like
Yeah,
everyone will start
Something
zero
like that.
in 2
Yeah.
weeks.
Well, yeah, we'll refresh it.
Like,
Also,
you know-
Chad has come up with a term called getting jade.
Yeah, we got
is when
jade,
something-
man.
You got jade this week.
All right, I accept that.
Yeah. so-
As a
Can I get-
skeptic,
can I
I can
get
accept when I
jaded?
make mistakes. I don't have any pain when I make these kind of mistakes. I accept them and I try to move forward positively. I only get upset when I make my wife upset, pretty much.
So all the time.
That's
Pretty much. Yeah.
that's a survival trait, Jay. Very good, very good.
So the way I'm looking at this, Ian, is I would like to see like a tab toggle where I can go, let me see the top 10,
I'd love a tab right now.
right? Just the top 10 players, and then let me see everyone, right? So the leaderboard should have like really like the top 10 have to be like in their own category.
Yeah, we could probably tell Frank to do it.
Yeah, Frank would
That'd
definitely.
be cool. Maybe we could also do it based on speed. I don't know if that would pan out with latency, but anyway.
You know what else I would really love is if people can choose avatars.
Ooh, avatars. I would love one.
Mm.
I might choose this guy. Who knows?
Yeah. The robot or the guy that's being
Oh, the guy in the end choking the human.
the
Forget
choked
that,
out,
right?
the choked out guy. I want to Oh my God. So guys, if you have not invited anyone to come to the 12-hour show that you think would enjoy it, do it. Why not invite a friend? You know, there's a lot of people's moms out there that like to watch the
Mhm.
SGU. You just tell your mom, hey mom, you like science? Watch this show. You're going to love it.
Boom. And it's going to be on all the same locations that we're streaming on right now. So YouTube, Facebook, and
Yeah.
Twitter.
Well, and the link will definitely be on the SGU site
That's right.
when it's established. When are we going to create that, Ian? Like 24 hours before?
No, it's like a week before we can make the actual link.
Okay, well,
Mhm.
we
so
can do
pretty
it
soon.
now then.
Yeah, we could do it. Well, tomorrow.
Almost tomorrow morning.
Almost. something like that. Yeah. We'll
To
figure it out.
answer a question quickly, I saw a flyby in the chat 10 minutes ago.
By chat.
There are no effective treatments for tinnitus, unfortunately.
No, but I have it, and it's really annoying.
I have it.
You could use masking sounds if it's like really bad. Like you could have,
White noise,
headphones, or even, hearing aids or whatever. But there's really no biological treatment for the tinnitus, unfortunately.
And we're not, it's probably a collection of things as well. Like it could be degradation of the cells in your inner ear that, the hairs in your inner ear could break. That could do it. It could be nerve damage. That's between.
Well, we're not really sure what causes the tinnitus phenomenon itself. So first of all, there's different kinds of tinnitus, as you're saying. So I'm talking about like just chronic pathological tinnitus, not that short 1 minute tinnitus that anybody can get. That's benign actually. But just like if you just have constant background noise, and the noise is not like you're hearing your heart sounds or whatever. There's lots of pathological noises in your head that you might hear, but real tinnitus. It probably has something to do with the way your brain is processing sound. And the researchers are trying to understand it almost like you would understand noise in a stereo system, like in a piece of audio equipment. Like the brain is doing, that audio processing.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't really, there's a lot of interesting hypotheses about what might be causing it, at that brain level, but we haven't proven what it is yet. So,
just imagine there will be people that have this hearing problem, and there will be a cure for it, and they will get it. Imagine, I would love to be that person, like going to the doctor, and then like they give you some type of injection, whatever, and then 2 weeks later, it just slowly goes away. That would be incredible.
As long as there's no side effects, yes.
Keith Davies, who's in the chat, he is the guy that built the gaming table for me and Court.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and God, we love it. Keith, we love the table. I mean, it's just, we use it all the time. We're having meals on it. We're playing, all sorts of games on it, and it's really awesome. I can't tell you how much we love it. Keith, made a custom table. We spent 2 years doing it. You know what I mean? It was like just this awesome project that he and I did. I mentioned to Keith at one point, it'd be really great if we could have like the legs of the table have a way to plug in a computer or charge your phone, and he made it happen. But it was like an epic Christmas present I gave to my wife 2 years ago, and it took 2 years for he and I to make all the decisions that we needed to. But now that Keith knows how to do it, because I was the experiment. He's the guy. If you want a gaming table, I mean, this thing is like, it's made out of dark maple, which is one of the hardest woods out there, and it's gorgeous. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It's going to outlive me.
Gaming tables.
So we have a couple questions. One is relative to the CDC being concerned about the new virus variant may dominate the U.S.
By March, they're saying.
By March, yes. And
Oh,
if you
boy.
have any insight into that.
Like terrible time.
So what was the question?
Basically, it was just asking if we had any insight into what to be prepared for, or if there's any differences with this variant.
No, it just spreads easier. There's a couple of hypotheses as to why it spreads easier. One is that it seems that it just is contagious longer. Like, so if you get exposed to it, you will be able to spread it to other people for a longer period of time than the other variants. And so therefore you're going to spread it to more people, before you're done with it. But it may also just be easier to pick up, or it may be higher concentration in the droplets or whatever. There's other things that they're investigating. It doesn't really make a difference to just people in the public. You still got to do what you got to do. There's no real change in protocol for it. Just got to make sure that you're not violating protocol. It's just all the more important to do that, and get vaccinated as soon as you can. The vaccine does cover it.
Okay, let's see. This one's for everybody, but what does Steve think about Dr. Sanjay Gupta's new book, Keep Sharp: How to Build a Better Brain at Any Age?
I haven't read it. I don't know. I haven't
Gupta.
reviewed it yet.
So
I'll have to take a look at it, but I haven't reviewed it enough that I could talk about it. Generally, Dr. Gupta is pretty good, but this is. We'll see. This is an area where there's a lot of the gray zone. There's a lot of gray zone in there.
Is this his specialty?
I don't know. I don't think so.
No, it's not.
I don't think so.
Yeah, well, yeah, it'd be curious to see how well he researched.
Did he have a
himself,
co-author?
Yeah,
expert?
I don't know.
So relative to I think it's the Kent variant, is that correct? The UK one. What does Steve think of the UK decision to leave 3 months between doses of the Pfizer vaccine?
I disagree with it.
Not tested.
But yeah, it's not tested. I think that the timing is not arbitrary. The timing is meant to get a maximal immune response to that second dose. So I understand they're trying to make the most out of a limited supply. And so it's a risk versus benefit. And maybe mathematically, whatever, in the end, that may work out. But biologically, I have concerns about it. And it just may be, watering down the ultimate effect that we get from the vaccine. So long term, it may not be a good thing.
Steve, I have a question for you. Did you read about that the U.S. did not have the second dose stockpile? What is up with that?
I don't know anything other than that. What I'm reading is that at the time they said we have a stockpile of doses that we could use for the second dose. It turns out they never did. They don't have it. So the states have what they have. So we're essentially now waiting for further shipments from the companies, but there's no backlog or stockpile that the government has.
It's nuts.
Disappointing.
I mean, how does that happen?
Incompetence? I don't know.
This is not good.
See, at this time during the live stream, I'm getting really hungry because my precious dinner is delayed. So everything makes me pissed off.
Yeah, you're hangry.
Angry.
I can't help it.
Do one more question?
Yeah. So what piece of science news are you all most excited about right now?
Let's see. Science news.
All right. Mine is definitely that that the scientists are making legitimate progress on cold fusion, and that the MIT team in particular, they're saying, we did say this on the show, but it's been on my mind a lot, that it's not a matter of if, it's more a matter of when, because all the science has proven out at this point. So they're building it and they feel like they're on track and nothing is really slowing them down or giving them massive problems. We will be a race, a species that has cold fusion energy.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be
fusion?
that it's going to be practical, though. Even
maybe not cold fusion, just fusion. Why am I saying
you're not cold fusion? You're talking about hot fusion.
Right. Okay.
Hot fusion.
Jay's talking about hot fusion
and hot
cold
pockets.
Fusion.
That was in a movie.
Better than cold pockets. Those are awful.
Yeah. Who used to eat chicken rondelettes? Remember the chicken rondelettes? Anybody?
No.
Wasn't that a group?
God. It's like I live in a world by myself.
For me, it's a lot of the advances dealing with quantum computers and nuclear thermal rockets. That's really exciting stuff. Supercapacitors, protein folding. Some of the cancer cures are off the hook.
Yeah.
CRISPR.
All the CRISPR stuff is just
CRISPR.
amazing.
Hello,
CRISPR.
CRISPR.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Not to sound selfish or unappreciative, but I want more CRISPR stuff happen. I want to hear, right? Like it seems like it's moving at a snail's pace. Like, come on.
Sure.
I want my CRISPR cat. I want my CRISPR dog. I want
the CRISPR news is coming out at an incredible pace compared to science in general. We're going to talk on the show tomorrow. Coming out tomorrow, we're talking about supercapacitors.
Space.
And space. The space news has really been, ramping up, and the next decade, the next decade really promises to be incredible in terms of, the commercialization, privatization of space, going back to the moon, making progress on getting to Mars. It's really going to be amazing.
If you read about everything that they expect to happen in space-related things over the next 10 years. It's like that feeling between, where were you at 1960? Where were you at 1969?
Yeah.
So like, oh my gosh, such a difference. I think we're going to feel something similar by the end of this next decade.
Right. Yep. All right, guys.
We at that point?
Yeah, I think we're at that point.
So this will be, we will not be live streaming next Friday because Ian and I will be at this time probably kind of freaking out in the studio.
DEF CON 5.
Yeah.
Unless we do a super secret, like quick stream to test.
Yeah,
things.
we could.
Yeah,
there might be something. We'll let you know. We'll let you know somehow.
But join us next Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern time.
Join us.
12 hours of nonstop SGU fun. We're not just going to chat about politics, I promise. There's going to be zero politics.
Kara will be at the 12-hour show. Of course.
Kara will be at the 12-hour show.
Is that a promise?
We're going to be talking. Well, it's going to be like multiple actual episodes. Like there'll be science or fiction.
True.
There'll
We
be
have
news
so
items.
much.
There will be all
There's so
kinds
much
of stuff.
going
We
on.
have 5 guests booked right now, not including George. George will be joining us basically for the whole show. Plus, we have 5, people who would join us throughout the show. It's going to be.
Somebody said live
fun.
stream and prosper. I love that.
Yeah.
That's because I did this.
Yeah. Oh, so you were part of that.
I initiated it, perhaps.
Yeah, so
Maybe.
join us. We're really looking forward to it. And again, this is for the patrons. This is our epic thank you. And Steve loves to remind us that we are only 500 or so patrons away from a 24-hour live stream.
That's correct. We're very close to 4,500, which is our next goal. Where we
upgrade people's.
Can we complete our update of our audio equipment? We've already started, but we'll complete the update of our audio equipment, and then at 5,000, that's a 24-hour show.
Oh my god!
Wow.
And
we'll
We'll have to prepare 48 hours of material.
We're still at rank 50th on Graphitron. So if we do hit that 4,500, actually the next one up is 4,507.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So as we're getting close, if we hit the 5,000, we would immediately jump up to like 41st.
Boy.
Ian, are you prepared
42.
to be in a room with me for 12 hours? Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Sure.
You were in a van
so
with
become
him
a
for 12
patron.
hours.
That's true. Yeah. So please become a patron, and there will be patron shout outs and
there will be a schedule. We'll put out a schedule.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right.
We'll see you guys. We'll see you
Fun
guys
as
in
always.
1 week and 1 day.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
Stay safe, everyone. Safety first.
Happy New
Bye,
Year.
people.
Skeptic's Guide to the Universe is produced by SGU Productions, dedicated to promoting science and critical thinking. For more information, visit us at theskepticsguide.org. Send your questions to info@theskepticsguide.org. And if you would like to support the show and all the work that we do, go to patreon.com/skepticsguide and consider becoming a patron and becoming part of the SGU community. Our listeners and supporters are what make SGU possible.